Yes, thank you very much, Emilia, and thanks both to you and Habitat and UCLG and Metropolis for hosting this experience online. I see many people, and obviously these are very successful, and there is a great need to exchange ideas, experiences, and learn in particular on how we can not only face and tackle this emergency, but also learn from this emergency, because there is the time of the emergency, but soon, hopefully, really soon, we will have a time where we have to restart, and we want to use everything we are learning now and everything we are learning from each other to really put forward a plan that puts citizens at the center for the restart, so for the next phase. Just really a few reflections here. I have to say that at the moment, I'm also in the advisory task force that the Italian government has created in order to evaluate and analyze technologies to tackle the crisis. So I've been in a process of selectioning for the contact tracing app that the government is planning to put forward. And also I'm very much coordinating the European response to that, in contact with the European Commission, but also with the data protection authorities in Europe. So I think I'm very involved into this kind of conversation at the moment. I think for me, there are a couple of reflections. The first one is that obviously technology, as Emilia and also the UN Habitat General Director repeated very clearly, and also Annalisa, of course, the technology is just one part. I mean, technology of the response. So technology has to be seen as an enabler in support of a much broader strategies that we have to put in place, which is, to provide protection to people, to reinforce our healthcare system, to provide facilities for testing, to share data, science, and solutions to find a vaccine and the cure to the virus. So it is a complex system, and technology is a part of that. So again, I think I would stress what Emilia says, that we are not techno-solutionists. We don't believe that an app can solve the world, or that technology is going to solve all our problems, but it has to be part of this more complex solution. The other question, I think, is that, of course, there are lots of challenges, opportunities, but also big challenges. Even now, when we think that we are shifting a lot of our daily activities online, from smart working to online learning and online education, to use of platforms for food delivery, and so on and so forth. Of course, if we think about smart working, for instance, in order for our public officials and our city officials to really do smart working, we have to provide them with trainings, with tools, with resources to enable this shift, and maybe with new policies to avoid surveillance in the workplace, to avoid breaches of privacy, and so on. So of course, this also, we need to give support to teachers, to public officials really strongly, because otherwise we won't be able to use all the opportunity of this digital transition. The other big question, which was posed by all of you, is how do we find the right trade-off between public health and emergency needs and privacy, civil rights, and liberties? I think here we have to be pretty tough and pretty straightforward in demanding that there is no false dichotomy between public health and privacy, civil liberties, and our civic rights. We can tackle the crisis using digital technologies, but at the same time doing it in a privacy enhancing, rights preserving way. It is technological possible, and that's a framework which we should consider as our framework when we tackle the crisis. So I think that maybe this gives us the possibility not only to see what we can do for the emergency, but see how do we take advantage a little bit of this acceleration to basically frame our next step of starting again and accelerating digitalization, but doing it in a rights-preserving way, putting people at the very center, and putting our civil rights, our fundamental rights, and our digital rights forward, which also means security of data, data protection, and data to use as a public good by all of us. So I leave it here as some thoughts, and I move forward to the discussion. We have a fantastic panel. I have with me Mauza Hadid, the mayor of Ramallah, Laia Bonet, deputy mayor of Barcelona, Roberta Cocco, deputy mayor of Milan, Felipe Guzman Ramirez, High District Councilor for Technology and Innovation of Bogota, and Rudy Barman, Head of Open Government Partnership Local. So I will give you the word. I think you're gonna have time for the presentation, 5 minutes each. And then hopefully we can have a little bit of conversation, short conversation about what you're learning, how you are tackling this crisis, and how you're positioning to the next step, you know, how you're using this digital moment in order to plan an inclusive and citizen-centric digitalization also in the future. So let's start with Mauza. I give you the floor, Mauza. You have 5 minutes for the presentation.